And what would you say was your biggest regret?
So my biggest regret effectively is, this is probably more of an entrepreneur than an investor story. So I was raising capital for a startup that I was running in 2006, it was. And we had two different venture capital companies that were looking to do the round. And one of them was looking to do us a bigger check, which is pretty much what we were looking at. But they wanted us to make some pretty serious management changes. They weren't happy with the structure of the management team, and they wanted us to make some pretty serious management changes. On the flip side, we had another venture capital firm that was looking to put in less. They couldn't do the full amount, but they were able to do less. They didn't want us to do any management changes, and they promised to put the money in very, very quickly. So we went for the easy way out. We took slightly less money, but it was quick. We didn't have to do any difficult maneuvers in the company. And in reality, that turned out to be a mistake because it was a good company. Experienced people had seen that the management team wasn't right. They didn't want us to fire anyone. They just wanted to reposition and position a new CEO in place. But the existing CEO needed to step into a more operational role because that was his strength. The regret is that we didn't listen to them because we could have had a very strong investor that is not afraid to make the right changes. And we would have actually made the thing that ultimately made the company fail, which is the team just wasn't quite rightly positioned. And so that was regretful, mainly because the company could have been much more successful than it actually ended up being.
And what's the investment that you're most proud of, and why?
So in 2013, we met with a company from the US. They're very specific auditing. They do a very specific financial audit, and they were basically people that were sort of slightly older, so they were in their 60s. They had worked in the industry for the last 20 years. They weren't your typical entrepreneur, and they had never built a company. They had never built technology, but they knew everything about that financial audit, how to sell it, how to do it, how to execute on it. So with my business partner at the time, we were investing proprietary capital out of one of our companies, and kind of looked at it, and we had a lot of discussion of whether this makes sense for us. We thought, this is, are they going to be able to execute? It was a service business, so it doesn't immediately have any kind of a exit. At least at the time, it didn't look like it had any kind of an exit opportunity. But we did like the team. They were very strong in their area, and we thought, we can help them. So we ended up doing the investment. We rolled up our sleeves. We put a tech team for them. We based them in Bulgaria because it was cheaper. I actually product managed the development of the initial platform, and the business has gone from strength to strength. And effectively, even though the business is running and growing, we've already seen venture level returns on our investment just from getting dividends out of the business. And so the reason I'm proud of this is because, it was very easy to just say, we're not going to do this. And it just seems like a lot of work, and it's probably not going to work out. But sort of just looking at their understanding of an industry we'll never be able to get into, and their kind of knowledge, they were, if you took their team, they were probably the most knowledgeable people in that specific audit type. So it was that decision that we're very proud of, and we still support the company. And they've gone from strength to strength. As I said, they're now working with some of the biggest companies in the US, auditing sort of that particular type of financial audit. And they've now also built over time a platform that now has significant value. So it's very likely that the company one day may get acquired if they decided to do that. But as an example, they now win deals away from companies like Accenture and some of the big players in the auditing space, which we always look at and we're very proud for.